This video is a demonstration of the process of getting data and using data from the New York State GIS clearinghouse. The easiest way to find this data set, obviously, is to Google New York State GIS clearinghouse, and the landing page looks like this. We're going to focus for this exercise, as we have during the semester, on Yates County, small and halfway interesting. So we'll click on Yates County to begin the process of seeing what information is available for that county. So we'll click on it, and there's several ways and several types of information that can be accessed, particularly orthoimagery or air photos. Today we're going to look at the collection of GIS data sets that are available. So if I click on that button, it'll show me that there are a variety of national scale data sets that are available, a whole bunch of New York scale data sets that are available, and a handful of data sets that are that have a spatial extent of county by county, and there's a few of those as well. So where do we go looking? What do we try to do first? Well, you'll notice that the national level data sets are very general. The USGS national map, the topography, very general purpose stuff, broad-based geology, land cover, watershed boundary data set, and for instance. So at the national scale, these are your foundation layers for a GIS study, not specific, very task-specific type data sets, such as traffic counts and water quality, classified watersheds and recreation, and armories for bears and etc. So most likely one would find the more specific data sets at a state or county level, and what we might call foundational data sets at the national level, the broadest, most general data sets to begin with. So first, let's see if we have anything real good at the county kind of scale. And as I see, there's only 10 data sets, and there seems to be one called Counties and Towns and Villages. I've seen those many places before. That doesn't sound too exciting. Transportation analysis zones, trails may be good, but there doesn't seem to be too many. And what I also discover as I begin to explore these is I click on bus routes, and it says I need to contact somebody at the Rochester Genesee Regional Transportation Authority, and the bus routes aren't what I'm interested in anyway. I'm not tasking you to do that anyhow. So it looks like these county data sets, not only can't I take a look at them right now, I have to write for them and make a Freedom of Information Act report perhaps or whatever. So not as interested in that. The best group of data, apparently, it seems, is all of these New York State scale data sets. And one that I ask you to download, one I ask you to examine, is bridges. And you might look for bridges under B, but you'll actually discover that bridges are under New York State bridges. And you learn that kind of thing over time or by experimentation. I'm going to go ahead and look at the data set details, and it's unlocked, and I can go ahead and click on it, and I have a zip archive it's just given me. So using the standard thing that you're comfortable with, I can copy out of the zip archive, and I guess I can probably just drop it on my desktop, and there would be the New York State bridges. So let's see how we're going to use the New York State bridges data I just got in GIS. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to intentionally use connect to folder and add data. And I'm going to use connect to folder because you will need to do that. And I also want to make an important point. Connecting to folder, I'm going to say find my desktop, done. That's all the work one should do in the connect to folder. You don't want to browse in it. You just want to find your desktop. So now I have in my drop down, I do have my desktop is visible, and I have here a canister, so to speak, a geodatabase, which is actually an alternate data format. It's just as easy to use as a shapefile. And once you get over the symbol or the icon, so if I click on that, I see a point layer. It's not green like a shapefile, but it shows me I have a point layer called bridges, fairly recent. I say add, and there's all the bridges of New York State, and that's a pretty potent and pretty valuable data set. It's this data set identifies for me 19,890 bridges in New York State, plus a whole bunch of information about them, the road, how wide they are, how tall they are. This is quite an impressive data set to be had so easily. Now I can go ahead and begin to look at our Yates County, which is what I want to focus on. Yates County is part of New York, so the Yates County data is in there somewhere, but I can go ahead and add a data set that you and I have already downloaded somewhere along the way. Current data, Yates Towns, and Yates Towns, and add. And we'll see there's Yates Towns underneath the bridges. And so there's Yates County broken up into towns. If I want to begin to do analyses, one thing that comes to mind right off the bat is to do a select by location and say I'd like to select from the bridges all the bridges that intersect any of the Yates towns. And I can just say go ahead, and now right click, zoom to layer, and all the bridges in Yates County are now selected, which offers me the convenience of opening the attribute table and discovering that there are 60 bridges, or things that are big enough and significant enough to be called bridges by whatever definition the DOT uses, and there's 60 of them. If I really wanted to, I could go ahead and start, or I could sort ascending, and it looks like Barrington has 7 bridges, Benton has only have 4, Town of Italy has 5, Jerusalem has 6, and using for a small data site like this, a blunt force counting method, I could find out which of these towns has the most bridges, for what it's worth. For larger data sets, there's other techniques to count up or summarize by a particular attribute. So that would be my Yates County bridges. And another data set that we could look at, which will give you an opportunity to practice this, is to look for agricultural districts. And you probably know that Yates County is very agricultural, so we might have a lot of them. A lot of the areas are designated as agricultural districts. And this one is listed by A. It's number 8, data set details, download. And in this case, not to be to scare you or anything, it sends us off to a different data site, which coordinates with New York State GIS Clearinghouse. It's called Cornell University Geospatial Information Repository, or Cougar. And Cougar gives us the great convenience of being able to download county scale files for this particular data set. So it's nice to reach the county scale. The only hard part is reading down the list about that far to find Yates County, and we're able to. And Cougars are it's been redone. It's a very nice data set. There's a snapshot, and we can also get the shapefile by clicking up here and double click, And as our usual, we'll open the archive, copy the folder, and paste. And now I should be able to find it and use it by using Add Data. I've already connected the folder, so my desktop is already recognized. And it had a goofy name, Cougar008, but there is the Yates County Ag District. And I'm not doing bridges, so I'll just turn that layer off for the moment. And now here's an opportunity to make a map to show the extensive agricultural districts. And most of them are split at roads or often at town boundaries. So all of these have the same attribute. They're just the entire collection of districts, which is broken up into pieces for whatever reason. A nice way to symbolize this map might be to make the town boundaries grayish, so they're not too prominent. And then perhaps we could say properties, labels, label features using the name, and say OK. And now each of the towns gets its label displayed, which is convenient. Now we can, and you can mess with the weight and the size and shadowing and anything else you want to the extent of how much you want to polish this map up. But that will be the second product, or the product of this exercise, is to have gone all the way to a data site, and out the other end comes an attractive map of ag districts of Yates County.